really doesn't dictate how they do in year 12, but that's what we see. And it's because of the culture of these four schools, and that's how they can maintain these top four ranks year after year. And especially James Roos. This school has been number one for the last 27 years, except for the last year when North Sydney Boys took over. But the secret, I guess, to doing well in anything is by prolonging the process, right? And treating it as a marathon rather than a sprint. And that's to do well in anything, right? That's say if you're, a bodybuilder and you're trying to, look better or go to the gym, you will look better if you just spent maybe 5 years working out rather than a year working out. It's simple as that, right? You can't beat time. There's nothing you can do to replace time. So, in essence, the very secret to doing well is to prolong the time you're preparing for and to spend more time. And I made this exact mistake when I got into North Sydney Boys. Um, and that's why we were only ranked two or ranked three for a long time, and now we're only ranked one. Most of the kids, they just get really complacent. And year 7 to 10, they sort of go along. Schooling is easy. They have fun. They don't really do anything. They just play video games. And I did the same thing. Year 11 and 12 came around, and that's when I put in a lot of effort. Now, being in North Sydney Boys, I started to put a bit more effort in year 10 and then year 11, 12. Kids from other schools will genuinely only put an effort in year 12. And that's how North Sydney Boys can do better than all those other schools because we start putting a lot more emphasis and effort in from year 10, 11, 12, right? That's why we're always sort of number two. But a school like James Roos, they have started as soon as it's year seven, putting in effort for the HSC. And this is why they're not stressed in the HSC because they've prolonged the amount that they're putting in effort. They start doing a bit more focus on English from a younger age so that they're not doing extreme amounts of tutoring in year 12. They just do a little bit, just an hour or two, maybe even 3 hours a week, to spread out over the weekdays. By the time they're in year 10, 11, 12, they're laughing. I remember having friends from James Roos. I went to North Sydney Boys, and when I talked to them about HSC exams and things, they already knew the content for these final exams by the time they were in year 10, year 11. Why? Because they just started doing something from year 7, 8, 9, 10, and they just built up to be able to do HSC papers in year 10. So by the time they got to year 11 and 12, it was just all revision for them, and they found it easy. And I was asking these guys for help, right? And they were so much less stressed than me. The reason they got to be able to be to that phase of sort of not getting stressed and finding HSC easy, they genuinely just started earlier, right? And that is the secret. Like they just started earlier. They put in, 1% effort every day from year seven, while most of the other kids will just be sort of, having fun and chilling from year 7 to 10, and then finally putting effort. They put in a bit of effort. Now, in terms of the actual HSC, what you're going to notice is that every child struggles almost the most in English and puts a lot of emphasis on English. Why? Because there's a huge gap between what's taught on English class and what's needed to do well in English in the HSC. With subjects like maths, you can follow the textbook. There's math tutoring. It's quite it's very clear cut as to what you need to do well. You answer these questions, there's work solutions, etc., etc. English, it's not the same way. So my key piece of advice to any parent listening would to be just put a little bit of focus on English earlier on. You can't memorize the textbook the day of the before the exam. There is no textbook. You can't memorize a dictionary day before the exam. There's no such thing. You genuinely just need time to learn a subject like English. And especially the James Roos kids know this because English is the reason why North Sydney Boys is never ranked one. We're always ranked two because we don't care about English. We just love our math, science, things like that. The reason James Roos is always ranked number one, they put in effort from English from day one. So by the time they're in year 12, and English is the subject that weighs the most and counts the most because it's compulsory, everyone has to do it, but no one can do it well. They smash English because they've just started from way earlier, right? And that is how you can get your child to do well, even if they're not in James Roos, even if they're not in Borkham Hills, North Sydney Boys, any school they may be in, it's the same principle, it's the same mentality. Start earlier, put in a little bit of effort earlier, especially with subjects like English and writing, which just take a lot of time to learn, and you will do better in the long run. right? Because I know a lot of the parents listening out there are still going to make that same mistake and going to say, no, my child is busy year 7 to 10. I don't want to do it. Then by the time you're in year 11 and 12, you're going to realize what I'm saying. And then you're going to experience it. Or a lot of the parents out there who have older kids, you are going to know exactly what I'm saying. That when year 11 and 12 hit, then there was a sudden spike that they weren't prepared on. Oh, and suddenly your child's stressed, right? This is all about taking the stress off your younger child and your younger kids when they're in year 6, year 7, when they have a lot more time, a lot less responsibility. Take the stress off them. Start a bit earlier with whatever you may want to start, but start early. Start early. Take that stress off instead of, overburdening your kids with so much extra pressure in year 11 and 12, which they're anyways going to be feeling. Get them prepared slightly earlier. That's all I really wanted to talk about today in terms of getting kids prepared early. Um, and I have experienced this firsthand, right? I've seen the James Roos kids just start earlier. I've seen the North Sydney boys kids, some of the kids who did really well at my school, they genuinely all started doing something outside of school from, year 8, year 9. And then the kids like me who did all right, we started around year 10, 11, so a little bit earlier, but then the general New South Wales, Australia population won't do anything kind of outside of school till year 12. Now, you guys might be wondering, okay, why do you have to do things even if you got into a selector school? A selector school doesn't mean the teachers are going to teach you some more advanced, like they're going to teach you a bit ahead, yes, but it's mostly the point of being in a selector school is that you're in a much stronger academic environment. So the kids around you are much brighter. And that's why the school does better because of the whole concept of scaling and HSC. I won't go too much into those details, but the reason selector schools are good, it's because of the environment that the child is in. It sort of prospers learning and sort of lets them grow to their potential, right? So even being in a select school, it's not enough to guarantee that they'll do well. They still need to put in effort to do well. They still need to learn beyond the school curriculum to do well. Fact of the matter is the school curriculum, even from primary school to high school, will not prepare kids to do well. And that's just Australia, right? Like in primary school, school doesn't prepare kids to do well in the selective. Same thing in high school. In high school, school doesn't prepare the kids to do well in the HSC. So regardless of where you go, James Bruce, North Sydney Boys, wherever, you need to do extra things to do well in the HSC. And my message is to start that earlier because the later you start it, it's just going to be more pressure for your child and they won't be able to handle that pressure and stress. But do what all the other top kids are doing in the state and just start a little bit earlier, put a bit less effort from day one. And then by the time you're in year 10, 11, 12, you won't be stressing, right? So as always, you can reach out to us if you need any help. But that is all I sort of want to talk about today. Hope you have a lovely day.